So I left the stripper, idea out but shoot, I probably could have got up that 10,000 like quick. He goes to court. We're thinking, he's going to get through this. And he doesn't. The judge gives him 40 years. He does have six charges. They ran concurrently. So he has to do a 40-year sentence, and he's serving for all of the charges at the same time. He had no priors. He had no, it was just so crazy. Like, this came from nowhere. We were just planning to get married, have more kids. We both were going to be successful. I was going to finish college finally. And the whole coin just flipped to the other side. Like, it was like, no, you're on this path now. Like, it made no sense to me. When he went to prison, I decided by any means necessary, because I wanted to pay for him an appeal. Like, no, this can't be. Like, something went wrong, something, somewhere. This cannot be 40 years. We were 19 and 20. Do you know how old we would be in 40 years? Yeah, of course you know, because I'm almost there now. But back then I was young, and my daughter was only 9 months. And I remember she would go visit him. Like, she knew him because he was the babysitter. Like, he would stay home all day long with her. He would try to comb my hair. He fed her. Like, he was so in love with her, his child. Like, he loved this child to death. And when he did finally get a job, when he did, he was the one that provided like everything, and he paid for the daycare, and he paid for all of her. She was a little greedy baby, so all her extra formula, and he paid for. We didn't have insurance on her yet, so every time we had to take her to the doctor, he paid like out of pocket. Like, that was all him. So when he was gone, I was left like, what the heck am I gonna do? Like, he actually supports us. Like, I don't know what to do now. So by any means necessary, we was finna get him home. So I started out, I was like, okay, well, I do hair. Maybe I could do so many heads of hair and raise up money, because it was then I needed $10,000 to get him an appeal, to pay for an appeal lawyer. So I was like, I can get that 10 grand. I'm gonna just, do this much hair. And I was doing the math and everything. And I was doing hair that wasn't working out. So then I was like, girl, I'm gonna strip. I hate to do this, but I'm just gonna have to strip to make this money. I can make it real quick, and I'll never look back. I won't do it no more. I just get his money to get his appeal lawyer, and we'll be good. But I bought my little stripper outfits and my heels and stuff. Now this is crazy. I had a body back then, like, ain't no playing. That's why they called me Cadillac, cause I had some booty in the back. But I was still shy. I still had that Scarface mentality though. And I used to call up the club, and I was like, yeah, so how do you audition? And it was like, you got to come down here and you have to do like a private audition. And that scared the heck out of me. But I was like, I could do it, because I'm doing this for Bay. Like, we gotta get Bay home. So I would practice and practice in front of my mirror. I had my little clothes on, my little outfits, furry outfits. It was crazy. My little clear stripper heels. And I would practice, and then I would drive down to the club, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna audition today. And I couldn't go in. I would just circle the building, and then I'd go back home. And I'm like, no, okay, that's because I wasn't ready. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna get it, and I'll make a better routine, and then I'll drive down there and I'll circle the building. I'm like, I can't go. I could not go in and do the audition. So I was like, well, I guess this just ain't me. This ain't gonna happen. So I left the stripper, idea out but shoot, I probably could have got up that 10,000 like quick. So I was like, okay, you know what? Instead, let me go to hair school. At that time, I had, ended up getting put out of college. So I was like, I can do hair school. I've always been good at hair. If I can get paid the real, like what I should get paid for hair, then I could really make some money. So I went to hair school. I was really good at it. Like I always had the different, creative, wild hairstyles. Like, and the students, they would gather around me just to see what I was doing. Like I was always trying to do something new and cutting it. And I see a lot of stuff that they do today. Like honestly, I know I made that stuff up. Wasn't nobody doing that stuff. Like these people used to gather around me. And it was like when other people started doing it, it didn't excite me no more. I'm like, dang, other people doing this stuff. So, you know, so I was like a trendsetter with the hair. I ended up graduating from hair school in 2004. And after I graduated, I ended up having corporal tunnel. I passed state board with flying colors. I worked in a couple of salons, and the thing was when I would use the clippers, they would like jiggle so much that they would send like electric shocks through my hands, and it ended up I had severe corporal tunnel and nerve damage. So, needless to say, I wasn't able to do hair anymore. I had to go have surgery. I was only like 22 years old, and they were like, "You're too young to be going through the 22, 23." So, ended up, I had to stop doing hair. My daughter was a couple years old, and she was missing daddy, and I would have to take on these long road trips to go visit him. And this time, was a whole lot of depression was in those early 2000s because all I did was miss him. All she did was miss him. And it was like, I felt like I opened this hole in her heart because I was still taking her to visitation. Like I'm introducing him into her life, and she wouldn't even know him if I didn't do that. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. I go back and forth like, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? We don't know. We only human, and we do what we can do. So I was still determined. In hair school, when I did hair school, baby, I worked overnight. When I would get home, I would creep in the door, and I'm like, oh, please don't let the baby wake up. Let me get a couple hours of sleep. And like an hour later, that thing was woke. She was woke. And it wasn't until she took her nap that I got a little small nap, but then she was, back up. And finally, around 4 or 5 ish, when my mother came home, then, she would get the baby. But I was in cosmetology school, so around 6 o'clock, I had to be to school. So when I'm finally able to go to sleep, it's time to go to school. I would go to school all evening, and then after school, it was time to go clock back in overnight. And it was so many times that my daughter would just cry, like, Mommy, please don't go to school. She started talking a little bit. You gotta leave again, Mommy. You gotta leave again. And like that was way too much. It was like if he could only be here, none of us would be going through this. So I never gave up. I don't know how to give up. Oh, you just don't know how many times I want to give up. And I just don't know how to give up. So, y'all already know that Life Jennings story. And after meeting him, that's when Project Reach the World started formulating. And I thought I was going to be a rapper. I was really good at rapping. Like, not to begin with, but when we came towards the end of that, no, I was it. Like, honestly, I was it. But I had to leave hip hop, and that's in another story time. I'll link that down below. But I had to leave hip hop because I had a message, and with what they wanted me to do in hip hop, I couldn't spread my message. That would be too contradictory. Like, I can't be over here And then over there, but I know y'all gonna judge me because I just said I wanted to be a stripper, but you notice I couldn't do it because it's not in me. And I don't judge anybody that is out there stripping. I actually understand you. Like, honestly, I understand. But I just couldn't do it. I wasn't like bold enough to do it. So I ended up stopping rapping, and that was about maybe 2010 ish.